In this video, we're going to cover areas of Malaysia that you need to know when it comes to traveling in this country. What language do we use? Navigating food, transportation, where you could get better deals for tickets, and as well as the best seasons. This is AJ, and this is a brand new channel created to help tourists who is coming to Malaysia for the first time or planning their return back to Malaysia. So if you like content like this and you want to support me, do consider subscribing to the channel and drop your questions down below so that I can make better videos in the future. And also consider downloading my free Malaysian travel guide template that will be equipped with more information as time goes by. So let's go ahead and get started in this video with the areas that you need to know when it comes to traveling in Malaysia. Malaysia is a country of 13 states. Now, if you're new to Malaysia, you will most likely travel within the location of Kuala Lumpur, which is the capital of Malaysia, and there will be a lot of activities and things for you to do over there. Whether if it's a 3 days worth of travel or 12 days, there will be plenty of things that you can enjoy in Kuala Lumpur. Now, that is of course what I call the first level of traveling in Malaysia, where you will most likely spend a lot of time in that capital. The second level of traveling for some of you guys who are returning might want to consider states of Ipoh, Penang, and maybe Johor. The next level of traveling to Malaysia, if you want to enjoy really beautiful beaches, would most likely be in the state of Sabah. And since this is the first video, I'm going to focus on the primary destination that most tourists will be considering, which is Kuala Lumpur. Some of the common areas that tourists like to frequent is of course in the heart of Kuala Lumpur itself, KLCC, Bukit Bintang, Pavilion. That is the place that we call a golden triangle, where lots of shopping, lots of food is going on over there. Of course, someday I'll be creating a video of real Malaysian culture that most tourists didn't know when it comes to coming to Malaysia. So be sure to check that out in the future. And in Kuala Lumpur, you will most likely visit the areas of KLCC, which is one of the famous landmarks of the country, Petronas Twin Tower. There's a beautiful park over there with a nice water and light show going on at night. And nearby places, there are things like KL Forest Eco Park. You also have our National Zoo. You also have beautiful temples to check out, Chinatown, our National Museum, so many things which I'm going to cover someday. But that is why I'm saying that in KL itself, you will have a lot of activities to occupy your exploring days. And next up, let's talk about language. Now, over on this side of Peninsula of Malaysia is made out of 60% of Malays and 40% of Chinese, Indians, and others. Our official language is Malay, and yes, saya boleh cakap bahasa Melayu juga. But most of the people in Peninsula, specifically Kuala Lumpur, Ipoh, and Penang, we all know how to speak English. So coming over here in this country, you will not have any problems in communicating with the locals. They will be able to understand you perfectly well. Most of the information available in restaurants and ticketing counters and museums and all these places have languages in English. We're very used to seeing tourists who speak English, and we are very comfortable around you guys, so the English language is not going to be a problem. But you may find that we have our own version of English called manglish. Just like any other Asian countries, we do have our own spin in terms of how we converse in the English language. And one interesting bit I want to share with you when it comes to our Malaysian English is that we tend to add the word lah at the end of our sentence. For example, I think you should have gone to the place lah. No way, compared to Singapore, food in Malaysia is better lah. And of course, learning a little bit of the local Malay language would certainly show your appreciation towards our country. Now, speaking of races in Peninsula, where we're mostly made out of Malays, Chinese, and Indians, we are very integrated in terms of our culture, where we understand each other really well, and we live in really great harmony. This is where if you go to restaurants, you will see most of the races being in the same place. And this unique blend of races has given us a lot of food such as nasi lemak, which is our national dish. But of course, it's going to be a little bit spicy for some of you guys. Mee goreng, which is of course fried noodle, and a lot of other Malay dishes. You also have Chinese hawker food such as chao kway teow, chicken rice, beef noodle soup, pork noodle soup, and my own personal favorite, the soul food of Malaysia, which is banana leaf rice, nasi kandar. These are really good stuff. I can't stress enough how many amazing food that Malaysia has, which I'm going to introduce you in a future video. Now, of course, food is something that you will find in abundance in this country. I do want to mention that we do like to eat spicy food, and our spice level may be something that is a little bit high for you. If I myself as a local Malaysian would rank which country has the spiciest food so far in Southeast Asia, I would say Thailand and Indonesia is up there. And we're somewhere one level below it. Usually our spice is isolated from the food, so you should be okay. But do pay attention to some of the food that have the spice incorporated in it. For some of the food, you may have the option of getting them to put it at the side, which you can use the Malay word asing. And of course, if you're traveling here for a long time and you want to find your own comfort food, Malaysia is also a place where you can find lots of other restaurants from different countries such as Mexican food, Turkish food, Korean food, Japanese food. There are tons of that option. But of course, coming here to Malaysia for the first time, you should try the amazing variety of food that we have. And if you're in Kuala Lumpur, you should look no further than places like Jalan Pudu and Imbi Road. The food that you'll find in malls such as Pavilion, KLCC are mostly mall food and may not be the authentic Malaysian experience that you are looking for. So make sure to do your research or wait for my future video recommendation. And I guess this is the perfect time for me to plug in why you should subscribe to this channel, because I'll be making future videos about local lingo, possible scams that you might encounter in this country, what are the costs of traveling here, and maybe someday you might want to consider working in Malaysia as a nomad worker, the apps that you need, and the secret hacks of traveling in Malaysia even much more cost effective. So consider subscribing, and back to this video. Now in terms of transportation in Malaysia, when you land in Malaysia, you will most likely be either in one of these two airports, which is KLIA or KLIA2, which takes about 1 hour drive to the city center of Kuala Lumpur on a not so jammed day. Now Kuala Lumpur is a bustling city, so if you're traveling in times of like Friday night time or weekday morning, be prepared to enjoy a jam that is quite heavy. That could add another 30 minutes to your travel. But upon landing down in KLIA or KLIA2, you have the option of taking a train called KLIA Transit, which is connected to our vast train system of LRT or MRT that will bring you to most of the parts of KL and as well as our nearby state Selangor. And this is the general location of the train stations that you will be in when it comes to traveling in KL. And if you look at this map, you will begin from KLIA all the way to KL Central, where you have a lot of lines to choose to bring you to the destination in KL. As you can see, there are a lot of stations, a lot of lines, so getting back to your stay is not going to be a problem. But if you have somebody who is not backpacking and you're bringing a couple of luggages, or you have family members, then taking train may not be the most efficient way of traveling to the place of stay from the airport. For that, you might want to consider using an e-hailing service called Grab or AirAsia Ride. Now, Grab or AirAsia Ride is pretty much the same as a Uber, and traveling from KLIA all the way to KL should cost around like 70 to 80 ringgit. Our Grab drivers are really efficient, so because we're using a system from Grab, our version of Grab drivers are not going to sell you anything. They're not going to ask you to contact them so that they can transport you to other places. Our Grab drivers won't work like this compared to other Asian countries. So you can expect yourself jumping onto the Grab ride where you can have an amazing conversation with our local Malaysian Grab driver, or just talk among you travelers because maybe our Grab driver is tired and he just wants to drive. And another side note to add, there is no tipping culture in Malaysia. And imagine yourself arriving to your place of stay, your hotel, your Airbnb, and you're checked in and you want to go visit some fun attractions, KLCC Aquarium, or going up to the Sky Tower, or taking day trips to around Kuala Lumpur. The best way I would recommend to getting tickets that even us locals use as well is by using this Klook app, where you can find all the attractions with competitive pricing. In this app, they will tell you how to redeem, what are some terms and conditions that you need to consider, and you can check the availability. And I put in some of these links in my free traveling plan. If you want to head over to klook.com directly to buy tickets, you can also click on my affiliate link, which is going to help me a lot. And we come to the last part of this video where we're going to talk about the seasons in Malaysia. When is the best time to travel? Now, Malaysia generally all year round is hot and humid. We mostly wear simple t-shirts like this and short pants, and as well as sandals everywhere. Be prepared to sweat if you're walking under the sun. But when it comes to the night, it should be quite cool and easy. This is why in Malaysia there's a lot of places with air conditioning to keep you cool. And from May to September is where we have dry season, where we experience lesser rainfall. And months like November to March is where we experience monsoon season, where there's more rain frequently once per day. So those are the times that are not so ideal when it comes to going to beaches and as well as traveling around the city, because our rain could get quite heavy with some places flooding. Yes, we still experience flood. And if you do come during the times of May and September, which is dry season, the weather's not too bad. Somewhere around 5 o'clock where our sun is setting is where the temperature feels nice and breezy. And if you're going to a lot of places that have air conditioning, you wouldn't even notice it. And seeing that Malaysia is a hot country, expect to have a lot of fantastic drinks that will cool you down. So that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed this a lot. This is my first video. I hope you subscribe to this channel so that I can make much more informative and helpful videos that brings tourists to enjoy Malaysia even better. This is AJ's Malaysia Travel Guide, and I'll see you in the next video.